Hey everyone, this is Mary from SVG Cuts, and I'm here today with all kinds of really fun wedding projects, whether it's a wedding or a shower or an anniversary or a engagement or even just someone's birthday. I think a lot of these could be used for obviously girly stuff with the high heel, and then like this wedding cake card here could totally be turned into a really pretty birthday cake card too. So this high heel, obviously it's done up in white and it looks all like bridal and it's so pretty, but you could totally give it any kind of look. You could go black and classic, or animal print and like real sexy, or just really anything. So that's going to be a lot of fun to decorate and embellish with sequins and ribbons and all that fun stuff. So we also have two really simple little favor boxes, which you could either make and just give at a shower to the bride or at a wedding, or you could make a bunch of them for a shower or a wedding, because they are pretty simple to put together and they just tie closed with one little ribbon. So if you got a head start, you could make quite a few of them and put them together, and people are going to love them because they're super cute. So we also have a nice engagement card, which I'm going to be using soon for someone I know who just got engaged. And the cool thing obviously is this dimensional diamond here, but if you want to make it flat, if you want to mail it, it also comes with a flat version too, so you can also do that. But both of them fit inside the envelope and they both work like that. So for the ring on that, I used some real shiny paper from my stash, and then it was kind of older, so I double checked and I just got some of this at Joann Fabrics, and I think it's pretty standard at most craft stores to have some nice shiny paper to use for the ring itself. So I also put together this fun frame which just features a 4x4 photo, and it's really fun to pick out your colors and your patterns on the sides. And it's flat on the bottom, so you can stand it on a flat surface somewhere. And it also has, this one does not, but yours will have a tiny little hole right here, so you could hang that on like a little pin or a small nail or whatever, maybe in your craft room or in like a girly bedroom or something. So the paper that I used this time is so pretty, and I've had it for a couple months now. I got it on 2peasinabucket.com, and it's by My Mind's Eye, and it's called The Sweetest Thing. And I never would have thought that I would use this for like a wedding themed kit, but it totally worked because I kind of focused on most of the whites and grays and pinks, but you could do so much with this paper. It's so pretty, and I've been dying to use it ever since I got it. So that's a lot of fun. But like I always say, all kinds of paper is going to look awesome with your project. So I've got all my pieces cut out to make the shoe and the frame, and these two little boxes here, as well as our 3D diamond. So let me show you how everything goes together. Let's go ahead and start off with our simple little Groom favor bag, and it's just one piece. The main part of it's just one piece, and it has these two little lapels which fold out. And I forgot to bring my three-dimensional pop dots, my big fat Zots. They're like glue dots, but they're really thick. That's what I used to put these lapels in place right here, so that they are kind of sticking out a little bit. So let's pretend that I did that, or you could glue them down, that would be fine too. And what we want to do first is glue our shirt on the inside. And I want to do my best to center it as much as possible, because I want these two holes to line up with the two holes on the other side. So I'm just going to put glue, as you can see, on the bottom and the sides, because I don't want any glue to be showing through where the shirt is like open. So I centered it pretty well. Mine's a little bit off center, which is not the greatest, but you get the idea, and you can center yours even better than I did, so that when you tie your ribbon through, it's lined up. So all we're going to do is close this up on the side here. And then obviously I'm going to put glue on all three of these tabs and close the bottom up. And then if I had my glue dots in place, you could see. Now these two holes line up pretty well, even though I didn't glue mine perfectly. And I've got some black ribbon here, and I'm not sure how wide it is, but something about this wide. And I just trimmed off maybe about 10 inches or so, and I tied a nice little bow through the middle. Then I took a fine-tipped black marker, and I just did my best to draw three evenly spaced little buttons right down the front. So next, for our simple little bride favor bag, it's mostly just one piece, and then this panel here I included so that you can emboss it, because something that's really pretty about wedding dresses is some of the nice lace and pretty fabric, so I think that looks really nice on the front. So now all we're going to do is put glue on this side tab here, close that up, and then just put glue on these 3 tabs here and close the bottom up. Then all that's left to do is the sides bend in a little bit, and then we're just going to wrap a little ribbon around whatever, you know, your color of the wedding is. You can choose that. This time I used some really pretty dainty little thin ribbon, which I think looks nice. So just a quick note about this card. This little banner here, it's one piece and it just folds around like this. And again, I used one of my 3-dimensional pop dots underneath this to kind of let it stick out a little bit. And then for the flowers, I could have cut them all the petals out of the same color, but I think it looks nice to go from light to medium to dark if you feel like doing that. And they're just small, medium, and large, and all you do is just kind of pinch it and do the same thing to all 3 layers, and just put a dot of glue in the middle and glue them on top of each other and finish them off with a cute little something in the middle. Next, for our 3-dimensional diamond, I wanted to make the diamond out of glitter, but glitter doesn't really score and fold very nicely, so that's why I chose this like shiny silver paper. And all we're going to do is put glue on this side tab here and glue that closed. And then we're going to put glue on all of these little tabs here all the way around. And I'm not being very careful with mine, but as long as you get the idea, that's all that matters. And then this little piece here gets glued right in the middle. And I'm getting glue all over the place. It's kind of a big mess, but yours I'm sure will not be as bad. Plus we're going to cover up the surface of it anyway with these little panels, so it doesn't matter. So for the panels here, you can cut these out of glitter instead, but I have this really fun holographic paper which is actually sticky, so I can just peel that off and I can stick it right in the middle. It's kind of a little tricky to get it perfectly centered, and then we've got 12 sides, and you just put your little sides all the way around. So then to stick it onto our ring here, we just want to fold over all these tabs. We're just going to put a ring of glue all the way around, and then carefully put it right on top of our ring and just hold it down for a while so that the glue can take hold and dry. Now let's take a look at our 4x4 photo frame, and it's a lot simpler than it really looks. We've got the middle square here, the 2 sides, the top and the bottom, and they look the same, but you can tell that this is the top because it has a little circle cut out of the top. Then we've also got the back, and we've got this optional piece here which goes on the inside. On mine, it's a piece of gray paper which you can't really see. It can add some nice contrast, so this time I chose something a little bolder. And then we've got our 2 panels that go on the sides, and this 2 pieces like this here which go on at the end, as well as a couple strips like this. So let's start by putting our panels on our sides because it's going to be easier to glue them down while they're flat instead of adding them later when it's not on a flat surface. So what we want to do is just center it right in the middle, which is a little bit tricky, but just do your best to make sure that the top and the bottom have about as much space. There's about as much space on the top and the bottom and on the two sides. So I'm going to go ahead and put my other one on. And these two sides are actually not mirror images. Well, they're mirror images of each other, but you can tell which side is the bottom. Hang on, let me just get this on here. We can tell that this is the bottom because it's a flat edge. This is the top because it's not flat, it's angled. So I would not want to do it like this with the flat side up there. So next we can go ahead and, what you want to do is go ahead and glue this right in the middle on the top and also the one on the bottom. And then we've got two pieces like this which go right in the middle of this little open space here like this, and this longer one gets similarly glued right in the middle of this open space here. So go ahead and put those on. I'm going to skip that step to save a little time here. And now all we need to do is start assembling our frame, which is really pretty straightforward. So, and again, I know that I've got the top up here because of the little circle that's cut out on the top. And I'm just gluing the four sides together first, the four front facing sides. And I'm just doing my best to line up everything as nicely as possible. I've got my corners lined up pretty close to perfect. I can actually see that it's not perfect, but that's okay. The closer to perfect, the better, so you can take your time a little bit more than me, and yours will be awesome. And again, I'm just lining up the edge of one side with the fold of the other side. And there's just one more. And I will just give this a second to dry here. I didn't do a very good job getting my glue all the way out to the corner, which is kind of important because it makes sure that everything stays together over time and whatnot. So I want to give this kind of a second to dry here before I start messing with it. What we want to do is bend it in carefully. And I'm going to go ahead and glue my square right in the middle. So I want my glue to go all the way out to the corners without putting too much on there, because then obviously it will come out the edges and you'll see your shiny glue even after it dries. So I can go ahead and place my square here. And now's a good time to go ahead and put your photo in place. All you need to do is trim a photo to 4x4, which is really easy if you are starting with a 4x6 photo, because then you just trim one side and you're good to go. I think black and white looks really nice for the photo too, because then you can have a nice colorful frame and it all just meshes well together. So now what I'm going to do is choose any of these 4 sides and go ahead and start closing up these 4 sides. So I just want to line up the edge of one side with the corner, with the folded edge of the other side, obviously. And I'm just going to do that all the way around. And you probably don't even need me to show you how the rest of this works, but that's okay. Just in case you have any questions, you can see every step that I take here. And number 3. And it definitely doesn't matter what order you go in, as long as you're doing your best to line things up real nice and give it a chance to dry before you move on and let go of it. It's always good. And our final corner here. So now all that's left to do is put on our interior piece. If you're using one, it's optional, you don't have to. So to do that, I'm going to put glue on this whole square. And I want to make sure that I see where my top is with the circle, because there's a circle on this one too. It's going to go just right smack dab in the middle there. And I'm just doing my best to see that it's in the center. I'm going to flip it over and push down. And I didn't glue my little white pieces on here, so it doesn't look as cool as yours will with your accent on there. And now all that's left to do is put glue on all 4 of these tabs, maybe some in the middle here. And take the back of your frame and close it up. So finally for our 3D shoe here. Now just as a side note, in case you're wondering what kind of little flower that is, it's just off a ribbon spool by American Crafts, which I got at Archivers. Okay, so for the body of our shoe, we have several pieces here, and I think when it goes as far as choosing your papers, like for this one, the body of my shoe is white and the accent paper is like mostly white, which is good. Like if my paper was like pink or blue and the other one was, you know, white, it's really going to show through here where you can see the solid paper. So what you want to do is choose paper that's kind of similarly colored, like how I have yellow on yellow, even though they're kind of a little bit clashy, but it doesn't matter. So for our shoe, your machine will have cut out numbers on 6 of these pieces here, which I have laid out in an order, and I also darkened each number in with a marker just to make it easier to see. You don't have to do that, but if you want to, you can. It doesn't really matter. And then we've got some extra little pieces here, which we'll get to later, and we've also got our panels, which go on at the end, as well as our insole, which goes on the inside of the shoe. So let's start with piece number 1 here. And if you've made some of our 3-dimensional projects before, you might have done something similar to what I'm about to do, which is just to put glue on all of the tabs going down the side. And you want to make sure that your glue goes all the way out to these little corners and everything here. And all I'm going to do is take the next piece, which in this case is piece number 2, and I'm going to just glue these tabs on one at a time. and I'm giving each one a chance to dry, at least a little bit, before I move on to the next one. So just like that, I've already got 2 glued together. And although they're different shapes, they have the same principle. So we can just skip this part right now, for now, and put glue on these 2 tabs here, plus this little one, and grab piece number 3 here. And I'm going to start with the toe. On this one you need to start with the toe because it's obvious where it goes, and then the others fall into place. If you start on the other side, you might not correctly place the first one. So all I'm doing is just working my way down the line, one at a time. Now I'm going to take piece number 4 and attach it to piece number 3 on these 2 tabs here, plus the little one on the front, which we're going to start with again. And I'm just lining up this first tab here on the toe. And again, you need to do that one first, and then work your way up one at a time. And now we can move on to piece number 5, which goes right next to piece number 4. And I want to get a nice even coating of glue on the whole entire tab. And it doesn't matter that we're covering up the numbers because we don't need them anymore once we can see what we're doing here. And once we get everything laid out in the right order, then the numbers don't matter anymore. So again, I'm just going one at a time, and I'm really letting each one dry before I move on. And I'm also kind of holding them in place as I move on too, which I think helps. So now 6 onto 5. So again, same idea, just putting a nice thin, even layer of glue all the way out to those corners, and working my way from one end to the other. And for example here, I'm still holding on to this one as I am aligning the next one, just for some added assurance that it's not slipping out of place while I move on. And there we go. So now we can go ahead and close up this final seam here using the same principle that we have been using all along here. And I'm kind of excited about this yellow shoe. It's kind of bright and bold and a little bit springy, which is fun. This time of year in Chicago, spring sounds like heaven because we've been so chilly for so long. We still got a ways to go. Okay. And now what I want to do, as you can see, there are two tabs. There's one here and there's one here. So we need to take this piece, and that's going to go like this. So I'm going to do these one at a time. Get my glue in there. And line this piece up. And it's getting to be a little bit of a tight squeeze in here underneath the heel of the shoe, because that's just how it is under the heel of a shoe. It's just a little cramped, little strange shaped space. So what we want to do is get glue up on this other side. And this glue is perfect for this. In case you're wondering what kind it is, it's Scotch Quick Dry Adhesive by Scotch. And I've seen it at pretty much every craft store I've ever visited, whether it's Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Archivers, Joann Fabrics. It's good stuff. You just want to be careful not to get it on your fingers too much or too often. Okay. So that is, all right. I just want to line that up really nicely, because if I don't, then things won't, other parts might not line up properly if something doesn't line up right. So I'm going to dab a whole bunch of glue on the bottom and grab my piece here. And as you can see, the top and the bottom are kind of smushed in. It's a little wider than it is tall. So you want to make sure you have that going in the right direction. And I'm going to need to hold this for a little bit longer than usual, just to make sure that it's really getting glued. Okay, so our next step here, I forgot to fold one of my little pieces over. Okay, my next step is going to be to put glue on these two really small little tabs here on the inside. And they get glued right onto this last piece that I just put in. And they're small, but they're just big enough to be able to grab hold of, to hold them while they dry for just a second. All right, so we're actually getting pretty close to being almost done. There's one more like semi-tricky part, and then after that it's completely smooth sailing here. All right, so all we need to do for the body of the shoe almost here is to put the sole on, which is actually really easy because I did this a couple times already, and now that I think about it, it was not tricky at all. I'm going to start by just putting glue on this front tab where the toe is, and let that dry. And then I'm going to just put glue on one tab for now, so that I can give it all the attention that it needs and line it up real nice and hold it while it dries. And try not to get glue all over my hands. And then I can move over to the opposite side, put some glue on that one. And I just want to make sure that it is dry in the right place before I move on. Because if I let go before it's dry, it's going to slide out of place and I have a good thing going right now with everything in the right place, so don't want to mess it up. Okay. So the next one, and then on the other side, and I'm gonna hold that while I put glue on the next one. And I'm also gonna put it on this side and on this little tab and on this other side here. And also, I'm going to bend this back so we can take a look closer. I need this tab to be bent out like this so that I can put some glue on it, which is a little hard to reach. And then we can just place our sole in place, and everything kind of just falls into place at this point, so it's really quite easy. All right, so I want to make sure that these are all touching and the glue is drying, and we can move on. Okay, so there's our shoe. Now we just need to decorate it with, actually I'm going to put the sole on last because I want to be able to stick my hands in here and squeeze things, which is easier if we can get in there. So first, let's take one of our panels. It doesn't really matter which one. I think it helps if you kind of line them up next to each other and take a look at where things are going before you get started, so you know exactly where you're putting it. Now this is just going to go right in the middle. There's a very thin border around all sides of it, and I just want to work my way up the shape, making sure that it's still lining up where it should be, and it is. And I'm just pressing it into place all the way down until we get to the other side. And again, there's a very thin border all the way around the whole thing. So each of these pieces lines up in a similar way, and you use the same technique by putting glue on the whole back side and lining it up and just working your way down. So now you can go ahead and put all those pieces on. You can tell exactly where everything goes and they all fit just right. Now we can move on to our insole, and it's got 3 tabs here. You can put glue on all 3 of those, and also put some glue just right here. And then you just want to slide it up so that those tabs line up with the creases. You can see exactly where, and press that in. Then to finish it off, this part's optional. You can skip this, or if you want to get really really particular, you can put these inside to hide all those little tabs. And this smaller one also goes down here. It's hard to see in there, but you get the idea. They go inside and they finish it off. So that's it. Super fun projects for your next bridal or wedding, shower, or any kind of girly thing, or birthday or whatever. So if you make any of these, as always, I'd love to see pictures on our Facebook wall or in our forum or on your blog or Pinterest or Instagram. So be sure and share pictures. Have fun. Thanks for watching, and happy crafting.
Learn more by visiting www.svgcuts.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and watch all of our crafty videos on YouTube. It's a world of crafty content with you in the middle. SVGcuts.com, inspiring you to live creatively and beautifully.